Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success, episode number 23. I'm excited. It's Friday. Everybody said Friday.
It's Friday.
Hey,
Hey, feels like Friday to me, Mike.
that's right. Mondays are my Fridays. No,
Don't sometimes
Fridays are
positive
my Monday. I don't know.
don't sometimes positive people get on your nerves. Let's be real about it. Who wants to hear every day feels like Friday to me? But it does.
It actually makes no sense to me,
Yeah.
but it's all good. So, what I'm excited about Friday is because in our Fuel for Success, we're going to be talking about family and relationships just like we do every single Friday. This is our 23rd episode. This is the 31st of January. It's the last day of
Is
January.
it
We've made it through
really?
the entire month.
I'm blown away. I'm literally blown away that the month of January is almost over. I mean, it is over, right? I mean, tomorrow's February 1st.
Right.
Wow. This was a very busy month for me, my friend. It was busy. It was like intense busy. A lot of traveling. Our first mission 25. Caleb started baseball again. Woo! Baseball will take a lot out of you. He had 2 practices this week, plus a hitting lesson, a game tonight, and 2 games tomorrow. And the games are like an hour away. So baseball takes a lot of commitment, my friend.
I'm turning you up, Matt. How's that? See if that's a little bit better.
Sounds good to me.
Um, yeah, there you go. Ooh, that might be a little much. Talk a little bit, bro. Okay. Hey. So so this is the last episode in January. It's Friday. We're going to wrap the month of January up with family and relationships. We've got tons of questions. I'm excited to see everybody on here. Thanks everybody for joining us this morning. Um, And as always, feel free to ask questions and interact. I love the chatter that goes on the show, even before we start the show, people connecting and getting to know one another and meeting each other. What a great thing that we've got going on here.
I like it.
Hey, let me
How are
let's jump.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How are you today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm tired, even though it's
Must
only 10 o'clock in the morning
write us
here.
a note. You didn't write us a note on the whiteboard behind there.
Well, you only just noticed first time yesterday.
Now I'm
I
looking.
was going to see if you'd notice. Now you're looking. Hey, actually, I just erased it. I was going to write 23 on there, and I didn't get to it.
I
I've been
understand.
slammed busy.
I respect that, but my feeling is if I've got time to light my candles, you have time to write 23.
I'm under conviction now.
I need more hustle out of you, my friend.
Need more hustle. There will be a 24 on there on Monday. Hey, Monday we'll be talking about health and weight loss, so make sure you're with us at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time Monday morning right here. And you can always go to fuelforsuccess.tv/live. Click on the live link. You can always get to it even if you don't have a link. What was that, Matt?
Oh, what I was going to say, Mike, is speaking of health and weight loss, I got a little cold this week because I ran my body down by not sleeping. No medication, my friend. You know what healed the cold? Juicing and a little bit of sleep.
A little sleep.
Drum roll, baby. Nothing like juicing. Juiced 3 times yesterday, twice today already, and feeling good.
Good. So if you have to get up in the middle, we'll understand. All right. So.
Oh, you mean okay? I'm gonna stay good.
So we've got some folks on here that are interested in learning more about family and relationships, and as always, man, what affects us more than family and relationships? So here on Friday on Fuel for Success is our Family and Relationships Day. Tons of questions. Hey, folks, feel free to ask questions. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your input, your questions. But I'm going to start out with one, a question that we've got that was sent in, and we go through relationships in our lives, and we have family relationships, we have friendships, we have romantic relationships, all kinds of relationships that we have in our lives, and sometimes those relationships end up for lack of a better word, broken. It can be a painful experience. Uh, what's the secret or your best advice for healing a broken relationship?
Well, number one, don't let any grass grow under your feet. A lot of people, when it comes to a broken relationship, whether it be a conflict with a family member or a friend, they don't attack it head on. And I don't mean attack. I'm talking about, the Bible teaches us don't let the sun go down on our wrath. Really, we should never go to bed carrying a grudge or in anger, right? And so the way to handle that is to immediately communicate. So one of the reasons why we don't fix more broken relationships is because we let too much time pass without dealing with it, and it builds up. And the Bible talks about a root of bitterness. Sometimes the reason why people are taken with bitterness is because they didn't release their feelings or release their frustrations, or maybe share their pain, or maybe come to an understanding. So you gotta just be quick to resolve, but that takes maturity, and this is why we must pursue emotional health, because it's so hard to repair a broken relationship with somebody that's not emotionally healthy. Emotionally healthy people are mature, they're understanding. The Bible says, "Be ye of an understanding spirit." I believe that we're actually supposed to be understanding and not hold things over people's head. Case in point, we got a situation where Jeff Arnold preached it Because of the Times last week, and he said some inappropriate things. I had an hour-long conversation with him yesterday, and a lot of people are blasting him. I have high respect for him because he owns his mistake and he admitted it, and he's apologized to everybody involved in a sincere way. That takes a lot for a grown man of his power to do, to humble themselves and admit, I was wrong. I said the wrong thing. I literally said I spoke out of frustration. I respect that, but I also believe we ought to be emotionally healthy enough to say, hey, I understand that happens. What preacher hasn't done that? And show mercy. It's so funny. We're so quick to cut people off. We're so quick to judge. We're so quick to mark people or label people. I just think, Mike, we've got to get back to being emotionally healthy and learn how to let things go and be more understanding, be more forgiving. And so let's say you have a broken relationship. Sometimes, I went through a conflict with my own father, and I thought, what? Life's too short. Yes, he's wrong. He was clearly wrong. But I thought, what? There's no use in me holding on to this. And I let it go and just decided, what? Life's too short. I'm not going to, even though, he's never going to say he's sorry, most likely, which he did later, thank God. So, I just decided, what, Mike, it's not worth it. In life, we've got to choose our battles wisely. Let me tell you what it all comes down to. You ready? Your entire life all comes down to energy. Relationships can rejuvenate and revive and restore energy. It can add to your energy, or it can take away. So you've got to learn who in your life are energy drainers, and you've got to determine, is God called me to this person? Am I supposed to help them? Can I help them? And if not, you've got to remove yourself from an energy drainer. I know I kind of got off the subject. Let me go back. I'll give you 3 more keys to healing a broken relationship. Starts with forgiveness. There can never be healing in a broken relationship until there's forgiveness. I'm writing a Bible study right now, and I'm going to share more about it in our next question, because you emailed me the question, and I know what the next question is. But my friend, forgiveness is the secret to healing and freedom. At the end of the day, there's not one broken relationship that can ever be healed until there's forgiveness. The second thing, Mike, I honestly believe is people need to learn how to take responsibility and say they're sorry. The worst thing somebody can do is live in self-denial and not admit when they're wrong. Ego and pride and stubbornness will continue to destroy and kill relationships. It's sad that there's a lot of broken relationships that could be healed, and I mean healed, where they're like close again, tight again, bonded. that are not because of pride and ego and stubbornness and people just unwilling to let go or unwilling to forgive, Mike. So the third thing, in my opinion, the third secret to healing a broken relationship is to not only forgive, not only let go, not only be mature, but the last thing we need to do if we're going to heal broken relationships is we need to stop bringing up the past. It's hard for some of us to do that have been hurt. Most people, they keep talking about the past, keep talking about the past, keep talking about the past. You're just not going to heal if you keep going back to the past. Either you forgive, you move on, and you let go, and you accept that not even God, as big as he is and as mighty as he is, can fix the past. There's literally not one thing that God can do about yesterday. It's over, my friends. So you got to learn how to let go, forgive, and stop talking about the past. I made up my mind in my life. I am not going to keep talking about the things that hurt me. Once I get it out, once I take it to Jesus or to a counselor or to the person that hurt me, if they take responsibility and they say they're sorry and they truly take responsibility, I'm going to forgive. If they don't take responsibility, I'm still going to forgive. So I'm trying to keep it brief, Mike. There's a lot that I want to talk about healing broken relationships because I've seen a lot and experienced a lot, but we're back every Friday, so I'll save some for another episode.
That's good, and I'm writing down. I want to talk another time about energy and conserving your energy as well. So, but I did want to get to this the next question that I had queued up here. Um, and you mentioned about the Bible study that you're working on, and Jesus taught us a lot about relationships. But can you name some things specifically some lessons that Jesus taught about relationships that have been useful to you, that have been helpful?
Mike, yesterday I was driving to pick up my son, and the Lord literally inspired me to write a new home Bible study. Excuse me, it's another 7-lesson Bible study. It's going to be called the Jesus Bible Study. And it's 7 lessons about Jesus, straight up. And one of the lessons is going to be what Jesus says about relationships. Man, I'm blown away, Mike, at the simplicity. If we would just take what Jesus taught about relationships and live them, I believe all of our relationships would be much healthier. So, first and foremost, the secret to having good relationships is you being emotionally whole and you having a good spirit and a good outlook and not becoming so offended. Mike, Jesus actually said the words, "Blessed is he whosoever is not offended in me."
Right.
The fact that we're so easily offended nowadays is killing relationships. That we can't be more understanding and we can't be more forgiving, but we hold on to those offenses. That's really hurting us, my friend. Another thing that I've discovered that Jesus talked about relationships is the power of literally going to the person alone that has hurt you. This would eliminate 99% of gossip, and so, for example, if somebody has wronged you or hurt you, why call? It looks like in our own family. Like, I have 4 brothers, so if one brother ticks me off, right? Why would I call another brother and keep talking about it? It's stupid. Best thing to do is call the brother that frustrated me or hurt me or whatever. Say, "Hey, man, listen. Felt like you were a little too whatever. That's just my feelings here. I could be wrong. I need some clarity on this, or I really feel like you owe me an apology." So I think that Jesus taught us the power of clear communication, but also going one-on-one. He said if that doesn't work, then you take somebody else. So you might need a mediator at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's interesting. The word apology literally means to offer an explanation. And sometimes that communication, when we offer an explanation, it's a matter of us understanding the other person's perspective. And sometimes conflict happens just because we don't see things the same way as someone else. And so when we offer that explanation, when we give that apology, and we often say, "This is why I did what I did, or why I said what I said," um, and that apology can go both ways. A lot of times, conflicts are resolved that way.
Oh, I love that. Mike, is there anything you would add to that, maybe that you've discovered? Of course, I'm not sharing all of them, but something maybe that you discovered about Jesus or the Bible talks about relationships?
Well, there's so much. The what on like I always say, what affects our lives more than relationships, and probably the relationships we have. I mean, the three main topics of the Bible is the relationship we have with God, the relationship we have with each other, and the third one really is probably financial. But
Yeah.
one of the things that the a principle in the Bible is that really we have to have good relationships with one another in order to really understand, have a good relationship with God as well, because the relationships we have here with other people will affect our spiritual life. And forgiveness is, of course, that's a major topic in the Bible. And sometimes we think that forgiveness is something that we're releasing someone else. Someone
Yeah.
offended me, and when I forgive them, I'm releasing them. But that's not the case at all. When I forgive them, I'm releasing myself. And I mean, somebody may have done something to anger me, a year ago, and I'm holding that in, and I guarantee that person hasn't even thought about it, right?
Yeah.
It could
I'm
be
asking you to
boiling
forgive.
inside me. What's that?
I'm asking you to forgive me for that, my friend, so you can let it go. Mike, true. And then that scripture, I mean, again, there's a lot the Bible says about relationships. So maybe 10 minutes each Friday on just some biblical principles of healthy relationships. Let's do that, okay? So one I would
Yeah.
throw in there is that scripture that says, be kind to one another. How many people truly live that, where they're kind to each other? And I think we should practice that. And I think we parents should teach our children that same principle of being kind, to
Yes.
share. I think there should be rewards and consequences when our kids don't share with each other, So that's a whole nother subject.
Exactly. And I think another thing that sometimes we get in that apology, that reconciliation of opinions and points of view. A lot of times we'd be 10 times better off if we would just give people the benefit of the doubt, right? And not assume that they're trying to offend us, but assume that they're trying to do the right thing. And just that little shift in mental focus and mental understanding can make a huge difference in our life.
Yeah, most people struggle with giving the benefit of the doubt, but I agree with that. I agree with, innocent till proven guilty, and then not assuming the worst or assuming evil. I've gotten in trouble. I personally have gotten in trouble in some of my relationships by assuming. And you know what assuming does, my friends?
We do. And
We do.
Tammy's asking, so you can forgive and not have reconciliation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because again, forgiveness does not necessarily mean that you accept or tolerate or excuse their behavior. It means you're going to forgive them so you can be free and not hold this in and poison your soul. So, yeah, I mean, for example, if somebody did something evil to my son after I beat the living, you know what, out of them, I might forgive them, but I'm not going to hold that the rest of my life. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to let him babysit my son next week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And on the flip side of that, you could have someone offend you, and they may never take responsibility for it. They may never acknowledge it. They may never own up to it. But you still have to forgive them for your own benefit and for your own health. But that still maybe you're not necessarily going to reconcile that, but you're going to release that anger and all those things, and have forgiveness towards them without any reconciliation.
Mm, good stuff, Mikey.
Hey, I've got another question here. We're going to shift topics just a little bit. Still talking about relationships, and actually, several people have asked this, texted in. I've seen it asked on the show as well. Um, and let's talk about dating for a second. And you're a single guy. I haven't dated, for years, of course, but so I'm totally out of the loop on this. But what is your best advice, dating advice for singles today?
Well, let me ask a question to all of our viewers out there. Anybody besides me ever been guilty of not living something that you teach? Raise your hand. Okay. So having said that, a couple of years ago, I wrote a blog, and if you Googled it, you could find it. It's called Go to Sleep and Let God Pick Your Mate. Now, by far one of the most powerful revelations I've ever had. It was, during a season of time where I was trying to find the right one, right? And I felt like God showed me that Adam didn't do anything. He was, busy, in the garden, and God literally put him to sleep, and he woke up, and there was his wife. So I have a couple of pieces of advice about dating, my friend, that I know from experience will help you. First and foremost, dating, I could give a very good persuasion why dating is a biblically incorrect formula, and how it's actually the cause of many of our divorces, and how I actually don't believe in dating. So like my hardcore belief is that single people should get lost in Jesus and in their life purpose and in preparation of becoming the right one. The last thing that a single person wants to do is date a bunch of people. Dating has honestly in our society become so liberal and just improper, and it's really kind of slowed down the process for a lot of people of maybe finding the right one, Mike. So I'm going to give you just some basic principles that I've learned along the way. Number one, the premise of that blog of Go to Sleep and Let God Pick Your Mate is literally you stop searching. There's no saying to find the right one. You got to be the right one. It is by far the number one focus of my life right now as a single person, is literally becoming the dream man, or making myself stronger or better in life, preparing myself, being the right one. And I honestly believe when single people follow this formula, they're not going to date the wrong people. So I believe that you date to mate. I would never date somebody that I would not consider marrying. And I know a lot of people that do this. And I think this is because of a couple of reasons. One, I think every single person on this planet should make a clear list called must have, can't have, and keep it in 10. So I created a list of 10 things that I must have in a spouse and 10 things that I cannot have. And that's helped me eliminate, and it's helped me stay focused. It's helped me be clear and not get sidetracked of, knowing what you want, what you don't want, and then not compromising. I see too many singles compromise on what they want, excuse me, or what they don't want, Mike. And I just think there's a danger in that, my friend. Let me look at the time. Okay, good. So then my next piece of advice, when I was a youth pastor and when I was a pastor, I actually taught a dating series to our young people the whole month of February. And it was called How to Know If Someone is Worth Pursuing. And I believe that you should know within 2 dates if someone is worth pursuing. So here's the problem, Mike. Here's the real problem, my friend. We live in a world of lust, Hollywood, sexuality is gotten out of hand. And my friend, James Dobson shares that there's 12 steps to bonding. Are you hearing me? 12 steps to bonding, and obviously step number 12 is like the act of marriage of, sex. So here's the deal, my friend. The problem is that French kissing is number 9 on the 12 steps to bonding. And most couples that French kiss, the more physical they get early in their relationship, trust me, the more problems they're going to have, period. So I always tell people, look, if you want true intimacy, true romance, and you want a healthy relationship, as hard as it is, try not to be physical. Because what happens is when you get physical, you speed up the bonding process. You become physically and emotionally and spiritually connected. And yet most of those people don't even know each other, Mike. And this is why you have so many fractured dating relationships, because of a lack of maturity, a lack of emotional wholeness, a lack of boundaries, and a lack of true communication and conversation, of really getting to know each other. Most people don't ask good questions. You know, because we've gotten away from courtship, a lot of our dating is shallow. We don't talk about real issues. What does somebody really believe about spanking their children? What is someone's true financial blueprint? What does somebody believe about biblical values? You know, you go like 6 months into dating somebody, you're physically connected to them, and you find out that they don't even believe a certain biblical value that you hold dear to yourself, you're going to be in trouble. I've learned it's a whole lot easier to to speed things up than it is to slow things down. It's extremely tough to slow things down once you become connected. So that's why it's better to lay a foundation of, you know, wow, I've really opened up a can of worms here, my friend, and I'm almost out of time. So we'll have to dive back into this next week. But, you know, I think that one of the secrets to healthy dating, Mike, is, you know, like I said, you date to mate. You never waste time. So the day that you realize I can't marry this person, you got to end that relationship. There's no reason whatsoever of wasting your heart or their heart or your energy or emotions or becoming distracted. And here's the tragedy. You ready? When you're dating the wrong one, there is a very good chance that you'll miss the right one. And that is a risk that a lot of people take in dating the wrong one. That's why I taught my young people you should know in 2 dates or less. So keeping your list before you of knowing what you want, what you don't want, you ask questions to find out, you know. And I think a lot of people in our society, Mike, because we're a shallow society, we don't value character as much as we value, you know, a lot of people now are based on the physical or the material, or, you know, what kind of truck does he drive, or how hot is her body, and all these shallow things, man, that we overlook. Character issues. You know, is the person loyal? Are they honest? How do they treat their mom? How does she treat her father? You know, what happens is when you get physical, you're blinded by the small things, the little things that, you know, that maybe you miss. And then all of a sudden, you know, you get, I don't know, I just think that these are some of the issues in the dating world that's hurt us. And I've experienced both sides. You know, I've made my share of mistakes, I can tell you that. But, and again, that at the end of the day, what is the greatest teacher is our experiences, our success and failures. So I want to go back into this next week as well, Mike, because it's hard to kind of cover this in 10 minutes, my friend.
Yeah, you know, I like what it was actually powerful what you were talking about, the 12 steps. And so sort of interspersed within those 12 steps of bonding, there are, you know, there are physical steps of bonding, and we live in a society that elevates and promotes those physical things far above everything else. So I think the tendency following society is to leapfrog the other important things, the emotional and the principle based ones, and just sort of hop across the physical bonding aspects and creates that problems exactly as you were describing.
Yeah. And that's why I try to be careful, because if the girl that I'm dating is not the one, that's another man's wife. And in the law of karma and reaping what you sow, I believe my wife is out there, and I don't want another man touching her. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. We're at about 30 seconds, Matt.
Wow. I cannot believe we just completely opened that and left me hanging, not to be able to finish, my friend. That's okay.
We'll mark it down and cover it again.
Think over the weekend and at least make their list. of what they want, what they don't want. Listen, I cannot overemphasize. Literally sit down and write down 10 things you want, must have, non-negotiables. Hey, whether he's got dark hair or blonde hair, you can deal with that unless that's like extremely important to you. But you got to write down what you absolutely must have and what you absolutely cannot have. And then you start living these things. You start focusing on becoming the right one. Maybe make a list of what you're going to do and what you're not going to do as a wife or a husband and live those. That's good. Hey, let's have a great weekend, my friends. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today. We will see you Monday at fuelforsuccess.tv. As you know, I'm on a little social media break. Like I said, I don't know how long. I didn't put a time limit on it, but you can always find our show at fuelforsuccess.tv. My friend Mike is tweeting it and Facebooking it as well, the link. And man, you guys are awesome. God bless each and every single one of you. I believe in you. I appreciate you taking time to watch our show, those that are watching live and those that are watching on the archive. God bless you as well, my friends. We'll see you on Monday. Love you, Mike. Good seeing you, my friend.
Love you. Have a great weekend.
You as well, buddy.